Shalom and welcome to Simchat Yisrael. The Torah portions for the next 3 weeks are Toldot, Vayetze, and Vayishlach, and together they tell the story of the patriarch Jacob in his journey of self-discovery. This week's Parsha begins with our mother Rebecca conceiving twin boys who she can feel at war within her womb. The Lord sends her a prophecy that 2 nations are within her and that the younger will be greater than the elder. The twins are born with the younger son Jacob clutching at the heel of his elder brother Esau, and this sets the tone for their relationship for the rest of their lives. We see that when they are older, that Jacob, desiring to have Esau's birthright, tricks his brother into trading it for a bowl of soup. Later on, at his mother's urging, Jacob puts on Esau's clothing and tricks his blind father into blessing him in his brother's place. When I read the story as a kid, it made a lot of sense to me. Jacob is the good guy, Esau is the bad guy. The good guy wins, the end. But now as an adult, when I read this story, the ones I empathize with are not Jacob and Rebekah, but Isaac and Esau. The Torah is very sparing when it comes to describing emotion. During the events of the binding of Isaac, we aren't once told how Isaac was feeling during that harrowing episode. But when he realizes that Jacob deceived him, we are told that he trembled violently and that Esau burst out with a loud and bitter cry. This isn't the language of villains being outwitted. It's the language of loss, betrayal, and injustice. Jacob took something that didn't belong to him and deeply hurt 2 people he loved in the process. How are we supposed to feel about this story? Was Jacob right to steal the blessing? Did the ends justify the means? Before we begin, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel down below. We can get a better understanding of the story if we take a closer look at what Jacob stole from Esau. This is the blessing that Isaac gives to a disguised Jacob. May God give you from the dew of the sky and from the fatness of the land, an abundance of grain and new wine. Grain, wine, and abundance of land. Isaac is blessing Esau with wealth. May people serve you, and may nations bow down to you. Be master over your brothers. May your mother's sons bow down to you. Servants, people bowing down, mastery. Isaac is blessing Esau with power, wealth, and power. Nice things to have, but these are not the blessings of the covenant. The promises that God makes to Abraham and Isaac have nothing to do with wealth and power. God never promises that the Jews will be rich and powerful. God tells Abraham that he will bless him with many children and that he will give his descendants a land to call their own. God promises Isaac the same thing, children and land. This is Isaac's true legacy, not wealth and power. And Isaac understands this. Isaac isn't as blind as some might think. Isaac loved Esau, but he understood who Esau was. He saw him sell his birthright for a bowl of soup. Isaac knew that as much as he loved Esau, he wasn't the one to carry on the covenant that meant everything to his family. So when the time came for him to bless Esau, he gave him the gifts that he knew his son would appreciate, wealth and power. He could give those to Esau because he had a separate blessing laid aside for Jacob. In the next chapter, as Jacob is preparing to leave his home to seek out a wife for himself, Isaac calls Jacob to him. You'd think Isaac would never want to speak to his son again after what he did, but instead, Isaac gives Jacob a blessing. May El Shaddai bless you and make you fruitful and multiply you so that you will become an assembly of peoples. And may he give you the blessing of Abraham, to you and to your seed with you, that you may take possession of the land of your sojourn, which God gave to Abraham. Children and land. These are the blessings of the covenant. These are the blessings that Isaac always intended to give Jacob. Jacob never needed to disguise himself. He never needed to trick his father or steal from his brother. If Jacob had trusted more in the Lord and had patience to wait, God would have fulfilled his plan for Jacob's life in his own time. But this is Jacob's character arc. This is part 1 of his story. Jacob is born clutching at Esau's heel. He buys Esau's birthright. He steals Esau's blessing. He even dresses up in Esau's clothing and tells his father, "I am your son Esau." Jacob wanted what Esau had because he wanted to be Esau. He wanted to be the eldest, to be strong and powerful, to be his father's favorite. Jacob's major flaw in Parsha Toldot is that he is so busy trying to be Esau that he never realizes who he is. He never realizes that he is the chosen of God, that he is the one who will fulfill the promise that God made to Abraham. And so Jacob makes a terrible mistake. Rather than trusting God's plan, Jacob tries to take his destiny into his own hands, and the result is devastating. The bond of trust between father and son is broken. The bond of love between brothers is shattered, and Jacob is forced to flee his home from the wrath of Esau. Jacob will never see his beloved mother again. Jacob's actions in Toldot end in tragedy, but his story is not over yet. Join us again next week as we explore Parsha Vayetze and see how Jacob's story continues. Shalom and thanks for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe. And don't forget to visit simchatyisrael.org to learn more.